Welcome back to another episode. Today we have a guest on. His name is Nico Zabalza. Am I saying that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. He is the founder, the CEO, the creator of Black Lotus Shilajit. I'm trying to make sure I say that correctly. So today we're going to dive into his story, but also more importantly, the benefit of taking Shilajit, the misconceptions around Shilajit, how you can implement it into your life, why it's important. And I would venture to say, even for men, especially with optimizing testosterone, this is something that can be very, very helpful. It's not the miracle drug for testosterone, but it can definitely aid in improving testosterone. And I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff. So, anyways, without further ado, man, welcome to the show. I'm really glad you're here. Tell us, tell us a little bit about you and the company, man.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me, and it's great to meet you, man. Appreciate your
Yeah.
support. So I'm Nico. I started the company with my best friend Christian, and we've been friends since high school. We got into health together and kind of learned about Shilajit together about 10 years ago. And yeah, we kind of experienced the magic of it and the benefits of it with our family and our friends, and we saw a huge gap for it in health food stores, which is where we worked and where I studied alternative medicine and all about supplements and herbalism and all that and nutrition. And yeah, we were just super about just the cleanest, the best from the earth, like all natural farms, raw milk since we were like 18. And yeah, we just are all about quality and
Yeah, you gotta be
and
careful saying. You gotta be careful talking about raw milk nowadays. People,
yeah,
people freak out.
but people jump through the window.
They seriously do.
But yeah, Shilajit is amazing, and yeah, once we witnessed the magic of it, I found this amazing source, and they've been gathering it for generations. They use only water and sunlight to process it. It's super clean and pure, and it's from the most like remote, pristine area in the world, the Altai Mountains in Siberia. And yeah, for 6 years, we've never had a problem. We lab test every single batch, and they've always come back amazing. Um, yeah, and Shilajit has become more well known in the last 2 to 3 years. And yeah, we're just very happy to be riding this wave of people that kind of are learning or hearing about it for the first time. And I'm here to educate them and, clear up any misconceptions or misinformation about it just from people kind of just marketing it the wrong way. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my goal is to write a book and to come on as many podcasts as I can to really get across what Shilajit is exactly and what it does exactly and how it's made and are created by the earth. And yeah, our journey, we went from being at farmers market 6 years ago locally and just a couple stores, and now we've sold to like 300,000 customers, and we're
That's
in
amazing.
over 600 stores and counting. So
That's
we're
awesome, man.
super blessed, and we're about to have a GMP certified facility here in Port St. Lucie that we've created and been working very hard on for the last year. So we're excited to have the best Shilajit and the best facility in the US. So
Let's go. That's
yeah,
huge, man. Congrats. So,
thank you.
so why don't we do this? Let's talk about. Let's go. Let's tell people what Shilajit is first, because I'm sure there's still people out there who are like, what are they talking about? This sounds like something insane. Let's break that down, but then let's go into the misconceptions afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shilajit is a mineral. It's called a exudate or mineral pitch. It's called asphaltum. It's its scientific name. And Shilajit in Sanskrit means stone breaker or
Mm,
conqueror of mountains loosely. And it was discovered by villagers that saw animals like goats and monkeys climbing to the tops of the Himalayas and eating this black goo that was coming out of the mountains down the cliffs. And
yeah.
the villagers incorporated it into Ayurvedic medicine and then Chinese medicine and Persian medicine. So it's been used for thousands of years, and it's been written about for over 3,000 years. And
Dang.
Shilajit is this amazing like mush that the mountains create
Yeah.
as they form. So in the tectonic plates, one goes under the other and the mountains go up. And the minerals and the fossils and the land mass and the organic matter from the forest, the mycelium and the soil all goes under the earth. And over millions of years, it goes through this process of geological and biochemical transformations that transform it into this final form of the Shilajit resin. And then the pressure from the mountain, from the weight of the mountain, forces it up through the cracks. And then it actually oozes out of the rocks like sweat. And in some cases, it even splits the rocks open and starts oozing out, which is how it gets its name.
I was gonna say, yeah,
And
that makes sense.
yeah, so essentially it's, at the tops of the Himalayas or the Altai Mountains, it's
Here's a
frozen.
for anybody watching on
Yeah.
YouTube, you can kind of see this the resin right here. It's like pure black goop. Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
It's a little hard to work with. It's very
Yeah.
sticky, but yeah, we never water it down, so it's a little easier to work with. But yeah, it pretty much the heat from the sun expands it or causes it to expand, and then that's how it splits the rocks open and oozes out. And it is essentially mostly made of minerals from fossils. It's actually not fully made from just broken down plants, which is one of the main misconceptions,
Mm.
is that it's mostly plant matter, when in fact it's actually mostly minerals from fossils that have broken down over millions of years into a bioavailable form. And
Wow.
then creating the super complex forms of carbon, like carbon 60 and fulvic acid and humic acid, which are all impossible to synthesize or recreate. They can only be like extracted from the earth. So that's what makes it so unique and powerful, is that there's really nothing like it and you can't recreate it. Or you can try, but it wouldn't even be close. So you can't synthesize fulvic acid. So yeah, it's the fascinating part of it is the ammonite crystals. So these, I have a little ring of it. It's kind of blurry. So
Oh
these
yeah, yeah.
crystals, they're called ammonites, and for, hundreds of millions of years, those creatures like ran the planet and they were all over every ocean. And that's kind of like the sea floor is those fossils that have been, or their shells that came to the bottom. And then those minerals and shells end up somehow at the top of the Himalayas. So you can find seashells and like fish fossils at the tops of the tallest mountains in the world. And the minerals
Man,
from these ammonites that got the minerals from the ocean hundreds of millions of years ago. So when the earth was like pristine and pure, they were getting all these amazing minerals from the ocean, putting it into making their shells with it, and then those shells fossilized, crystallized, went to the bottom of the ocean, went under the earth, and then went through the process with all that organic plant matter, and then it reached the top, and then those minerals from hundreds of millions of years ago are in the Shilajit in a bioavailable form. So it's this crazy
wow.
magical process.
Wow, that's fascinating. And the animals somehow knew that this was good for them. Like they stumbled upon it, they started eating it, they realized it was good for them, and then the people in the Himalayas noticed this and were like, what's going on here? Is that the process there?"
Exactly. Yeah, they would see these big monkeys and goats eating it, and they saw that they were healthier than normal goats and monkeys, and that during the summer months when it was, not as hot or cold at the tops of these mountains, and there was a lot more competition down below in the jungles, they found like an easy hack to just climb the mountain and eat the shilajit, and they could live off of it. And then a lot of yogis that lived in caves in the Himalayas, they would eat shilajit and goji berries, which is pretty much the only food you can really find up there. So they would, increase their meditations with it. Normally you would eat it with milk, like warm milk and ghee,
Hmm.
and that's the traditional like Ayurvedic way to take it, is with some warm milk, and it helps the to assimilate it and kind of cool the energetics of the Shilajit.
Wow. Okay. Wait. So is it? So is that how you're really supposed to take it? What's up, you guys? Super quick interruption to the podcast. If you've ever struggled with energy, if you've ever struggled with feeling flat, maybe you're getting sick more often than you want. I'm not going to say that this is a miracle drug. What I am going to say is I do think organ meats could be super, super helpful for you. This is actually something I recommend all my clients. These specifically come from a guy I know personally and I've done podcasts with. His name is Michael Coomer. His company, MK Supps, specializes in organ meats. Now, this right here is a blend of like heart, spleen, pancreas, all of them. You can get individual products from his product line. It has been a game changer for me. I take them literally every single morning. I do not get sick, like ever. My energy feels great. My training recovery has been awesome. I've noticed a significant difference in taking them. And what's great about these is it's far more bioavailable than anything else you're going to get. So eating a good diet is awesome. It's imperative. I don't want to overstate that. But what I mean is, if you're just going to take regular supplements with like synthetic versions of this stuff, it's not very bioavailable. Whereas when you take organ meats, like things like vitamin A, B12, iron, zinc, all that stuff is really, really well absorbed into the body when you take organ meats. So if you want to go get some, go to the link in my description, use code Bernier at checkout for 15% off. Or you can go to mksupps.com and at checkout put the code in Bernier to save yourself 15%. Go support Michael Coomer, support your boy, support yourself. Love you guys. Back to the show. Take it with some warm milk. You said the warm milk and ghee.
Yeah, that's like the traditional Ayurvedic way that they would say to that it increases the efficacy of it or kind of neutralizes the some of the energetics of the Shilajit because the Shilajit is very powerful. So some people, if you're eating it like a lot every day, like the yogis were, then you might want to, take some fat with it or some milk.
Fascinating. Yeah, because I usually I'll take like a spoon or something. I'll just dip it in there and I'll just plop it right in and just let it dissolve.
Yeah, yeah. If you're taking like a regular amount, then it's not totally necessary. But if you're
Yeah.
taking like 2 to 10 grams a day, then you might want to dose it a little differently. So
That's insane. Um, all right, so wait, so tell me a little bit more about the carbon 60 you said, like these things that like you can't make otherwise, like it can only come from the earth. Did I understand that correctly?
yeah, yeah. So carbon 60 can be extracted as well as the fulvic acid, but it can't be recreated. Carbon 60 is a perfect molecule of carbon that looks like a soccer ball. So usually molecules don't have this perfect geometry where they form a perfect like shape like that.
Hmm.
But the carbon 60 does, and that's what makes it so powerful for chelating and for increasing like the conductivity of the body. And it's recognized by the body because so all of our organ systems adapted or evolved, from nature, and these like creatures that lived before us, and like basically how our organs formed and how our body systems formed was in the presence of these super rich fulvic acid compounds and carbon compounds and minerals that were in the earth and in the oceans and on the planet back, hundreds of millions of years ago. And so that's why our body recognizes these things when you take them, as opposed to just taking like a powder that's extracted from rock or from seashells or from coral for like a mineral, which your body can't fully recognize or fully absorb. The fulvic acid is absorbed and used and recognized by every cell in our body and every organ system. So that's why it's so beneficial and so easy for the body to assimilate all these bioavailable nutrients in the Shilajit, and anything that you take with it, it increases the absorption. So in Ayurvedic medicine, that's why they used it to like increase the efficacy of tonics or teas or herbs, You just
Yeah.
add a little bit of Shilajit and it increases, the efficacy of it.
Man, that is insane.
Yeah.
So what are the, I feel like you're hitting on it already, but what are the main benefits of consuming Shilajit on on a regular basis? Like what can people expect? Let's say like a moderately healthy person. It starts taking Shilajit every morning. What can they expect to feel, either objectively or subjectively?
Yeah, so the main thing that I attribute to it is like life force or vitality.
Hmm.
And for some people that can be subtle because they already, it's like a 2% increase, but that 2%, compounds over time. And s- generally the first week you take it, you can really like feel this like uplifting effect and this grounding effect and this kind of like clear focus and vitality. And that is the main thing that it's been known for and written about for 2,500 years. And the oldest Ayurvedic text, the Charaka Samhita, it literally says for a healthy person, it will produce great energy and stamina. And it also says that combined with the right herbs and tonics, that there's nothing that it can't help with. So that's
Wow.
why the benefits are so wide because it
Yeah.
affects every single organ system beneficially. So it like helps your digestion because it helps mineralize and nourish the lining of your stomach and a whole digestive tract. And it helps everything absorb better. And then it helps with your blood sugar. It helps with your stamina. It helps with your joints and ligaments. Helps with your brain function. It helps with sleep cycles, menstrual
Yeah.
cycles, hormone cycles. Like it
Jeez.
really and the main like efficacy of it is for the reproductive system. So that's what it's always kind of been marketed for is for, for men for testosterone, which cures erectile dysfunction. I shouldn't say cures. It assists with
Yeah.
erectile dysfunction. People report like overnight, like pretty much it's like it's this amazing alternative to that, and that's what it was marketed as for 30 years before it was really well known as a superfood or super tonic. It's just for libido,
Yeah.
but it can also really help with fertility, with sperm count, for women with the whole menstrual cycle, also with fertility, with pain, um, and like for women with menopause that have gone through menopause or going through menopause, it really helps regulate the cycles and the hormones. Um, so yeah, it also helps with like stress and anxiety. It's super high in antioxidants. It helps the body rid itself of heavy metals extremely safe in an extremely safe way, because the fulvic acid and carbon 60 are super powerful chelators. And so even for someone that has anemia or someone that has iron overload, it helps your blood reach a balance because it knows it's like an intelligent thing that works with your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how
so
many Well, how many different minerals? Like how much is in this Shilajit? I mean, you got the carbon
yeah.
60, you got the folic acid, but there's a ton of other stuff in there, right?
Yeah, there is a ton of stuff. So the fulvic acid carries dibenzoalpha pyrones, which are these rare compounds that essentially help, that's what helps transport those minerals and nutrients to the different parts of the body. And that's kind of the least studied part, I would say, of the shilajit is these like dibenzoalpha pyrones. And the the minerals it has are, I would say, in very trace amounts. So like potassium, iron, magnesium, manganese, copper, it has a decent amount of,
Hmm.
but not like if you were taking a mineral supplement, it doesn't have like a daily percent value of those minerals,
Gotcha.
but they are in a super absorbable form and they compound in your body. So you might be actually absorbing more minerals from the shilajit than if you were to take a mineral capsule or something like that. Whereas that just you pee it out and your body doesn't really know what to do
Yeah.
with it. Sometimes it stresses your body even more to like put all these things it has to deal with and it doesn't really recognize. So that's why the minerals are awesome and they definitely compound in the Shilajit, but that's not like a large percentage of it by weight. The more the what it has more by weight is the fulvic acid and the humic acid and the dibenzo alpha pyrones.
Yeah.
Those are what, carry all those minerals. It also has enzymes, it has amino acids, it has vitamins, and those are in trace amounts too. And yeah, there's this amazing book that this professor in India wrote. He studied Shilajit for 30 years and did a chemical analysis of like all these different kinds of Shilajit. And I'm lucky to have some of his books. And he he broke down every single thing that's in it chemically, and it's kind of hard to understand. But
Yeah.
yeah, it has a lot of different compounds in it that are completely unknown and are, yet to be studied. So that's my goal, is to kind of do more research into the actual chemical, composition of every single thing in there. But yeah, it does have 85 ionic minerals. It has the fulvic and humic acid, and then it has vitamins and amino acids and enzymes that
Dang.
we preserve by keeping it raw.
Yeah. So that's fascinating to me. There's elements in here, there are things in here that we don't even like fully understand.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I'm sure the chemist understands. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just me, but
Okay.
but when I just see all these, chemical equations, that goes over my head. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like when you're reading the ingredients in the back of like something from the store, you're like, what even is this?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But luckily, it's all coming from the earth. It's just these rare compounds that are, carbon based, and yeah, which
yeah.
is fascinating to me.
So I heard you saying there, different types of Shilajit. So are there different types and does it matter the specific type that you get?
Yes, so the Shilajit that is on the market is called black, or the iron Shilajit.
Hmm.
There are five types of Shilajit actually.
Okay.
They're all slightly different, and they all are different because of the composition of elements or minerals. One that we've gotten samples of and have access to, but I don't think the world is ready for is white Shilajit. So white Shilajit is more calcium based, and it has a lot of calcium and magnesium, and it kind of looks like a white rock, and you can kind of powder it with your
Hmm.
hands.
Yeah.
And that is used in very specific instances. So you would take it for 2 to 4 weeks if you broke.
Nagging injuries, poor sleep, and wrinkled skin. All three things that I think all of us agree really sucks. But you know what the three things have in common? They benefit from red light therapy. So something that I have been doing recently in my own life has been working with this company, Loombox. They sent me this product. If you're just listening, it's just a square or so like a rectangular white box with a bunch of dots on it where the red light comes out of. It has been a huge game changer for me. So especially for me as an athlete, I deal with a lot of nagging injuries. I will put this thing on my elbow, my knee, my back, my neck. I'll put it anywhere that I'm feeling pain. And I'm not kidding you. The reduction in pain I get almost immediately is amazing. But I've healed from tendonitis far quicker than I ever should heal, especially in my knee. I've had jumpers in my knee for a while, and it is like completely gone from red lighting this. So I've been able to get back to squatting and jumping and all the things. It's been awesome. What's really cool about red light therapy, though, is it has to be a specific nanometer. So there's two types. There's red light, and then there's near infrared. Red light, you need to be around that 660 nanometer range, and for near infrared, you need to be around 850 nanometers, and this thing covers both. So if you want to hold it on your skin, like put their little glasses on, hold it on your skin, it's great for collagen production. If you want to put it on your room when you're going to bed, it kind of helps you get into like sleep mode, so it increases the amount of restful sleep you're going to get at night. Or if you just want to put it topically right onto an injury, you're going to increase the healing time. You're going to drastically reduce the time it takes to heal. I don't want to throw out some crazy number percentage, but you're going to speed up their healing recovery time. So it's really cool. Anyways, you can go to the link in the description. You can save yourself $260 if you want to check this out. If you've got anything going on, or you want to sleep better, or if you want to just look prettier, go to the link in the description. Save yourself some money. Support these guys. They're really, really great. Support your boys. Support yourself. Love you guys. Back to the show.
Broke a bone, or if you have like a ligament tear, or you're anything, you lose a tooth, or you need more, more mineralization in your teeth, that is like amazing. And our source has been trying to sell it to us for 6 years, but we don't know how to market it. And since it's not something you want to take every day for a long time, it doesn't really make sense for us at this moment. But it is
Yeah.
super interesting. And there's another Shilajit. It's called blue Shilajit,
Mm.
which I don't think it's exactly blue, but it has more copper in it. And then there's gold Shilajit, which has more gold in it. And then there's one more. I want to say it's either silver or manganese or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
five types of Shilajit altogether that have been recorded and studied. The reason that we have the black one, and that's the one that helps the most, it's because it has the most iron, and because it has the most nutrients and like nutrition. It's something you can take every day safely without like these, building up too much calcium in your kidneys or liver.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so
Now,
this is like the nutritive super tonic Shilajit.
yeah, this is like the one that everyone can benefit from all the time.
Yeah.
So these other ones, the other ones you can consume, right? They're all edible or ingestible, right?
Mhm.
But you don't want to take them for too long. Am I understanding that correctly? Because they just have different elements about it that maybe you could build up a toxicity to, like you said, too much calcium. You don't want to be consuming too much calcium all the time. So things like that and those other ones.
Yeah, yeah. So those are more for like more acute conditions, I would say,
Yeah, I was just about to say
temporary
that.
that you would take temporarily. This is more of like a superfood supplement that you can take safely
Yeah.
for a long time. And yeah, it's just, and they're more rare. So it's very rare to come across white Shilajit, and it's very rare. It's even rarer to come across the other three.
I was gonna
And
say
they're
gold
not,
Shilajit.
yeah, they're not
Weird.
really on the market. So
Yeah, that's fascinating, dude. Okay, so has there been any? So actually, did we miss any of the misconceptions? I heard you mention one of them. What other misconceptions are surrounding Shilajit?
yeah, another misconception is that it's basically like how it forms is that people think it's like from volcanoes. It's not from volcanoes. It forms similarly,
Hmm.
but it doesn't come from volcanoes themselves. It comes
Yeah.
from like the mountains forming. And then another one is that it kind of has like probiotic effect, or like it has beneficial bacteria, and that's why we keep it raw. And that's not the case. It's
Mm.
got enzymes and amino acids, and that's why we keep it raw, to preserve those. But from my research and understanding, it should not have bacteria like a probiotic or a kombucha or something like that. That's another misconception. And then another one is about the heavy metals. So a lot of people are like very concerned, re- with good reason, about heavy metals. And one of the things that gave Shilajit a bad rap in the past was that it was stored in aluminum barrels and shipped from India.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've tried Shilajit from India, and there are definitely good sources, but we like from our source, we've never had any sort of contamination, and from India, we have found some that have contamination. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like a luck of the draw, honestly, over there in certain places. So
Yeah, India's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, and like yeah, the Himalayas are amazing and everything, but there is way more of a chance for a pollution accumulation since India and China and Pakistan are right there, and it's very, very, very polluted air. And we'd rather, yeah, since we have an amazing source, like we don't want to switch over. And we've actually tested like 20 different types of Shilajit from all over, all different sources to try to see, and we've stuck with ours because it was just the best. And yeah, so the heavy metals are not in a form that your body can absorb them, essentially. They're in Shilajit, they are chelated, and they're not like free floating ions like you would find in water, for example. Like there's all these EPA standards and the Proposition 65 for California for water
Yeah.
and for products. And it's funny that they applied those same like principles of water, even though you drink like liters of it a day, to everything. So luckily, our Shilajit is still below the threshold of Proposition 65, which is the strictest in the world by far, and it's made for water. Um, the heavy metals in water are free ions, which means that you can absorb them and they are bioavailable, and that's why it's important to not have those things in your water. But in the case of Shilajit, those things are not coming out in your body. They are flowing through and actually accumulating more as it's going through. So it is, there are studies on how Shilajit absorbs and helps get rid of heavy metals, even in your bone marrow and in your brain, which are
Holy
like
smokes.
thought to be impossible to get rid of, and it gets rid of it safely through your urinary and digestive tract. So
So why is this stuff not more well known? And why? This always gets down the rabbit hole. Kind of fires me up. But why in the world is this not like given to people through the medical field or, which I'm going to answer my own question. It's all money based. It's big pharma, yada, yada, the whole thing. But like, how in the world is this not more talked about? Because it's been around obviously for millions of years. You just said I mean, people going back 30 years. I'm sure it's back even further than that, that people have been going and getting it and ingesting it and potentially giving it to others. But it's like just now reaching the market and still people don't know about it. Like I just learned about it like 7 or 8 months ago. So I don't understand. How is something so great just not talked about?
yeah, it's beyond me to be honest, but
Yeah, it's
it's
like,
like
what are we doing here?
I wish it was more well known about. We'd be doing, we'd be selling a lot more, and I'd be very happy to be sharing it. But it
Yeah.
is, yeah, like we were just at Expo West, and 90% of people that came to our table had no clue what it is, or like they had seen it like once on Instagram or TikTok or something, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that. What is that?" And I
Yeah.
was shocked. Expo West is the largest, natural retailer trade show in the US, maybe the world.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just fascinating to me that the vast majority of people just still don't know what it is. I was not expecting to have to explain it still so much while
Yeah.
we were there. And yeah, we've been doing our part for 6 years, but it's being yeah, basically it went like viral on TikTok a few years ago,
Hmm.
and people have been riding that wave, and new companies have been popping up every day for Shilajit, and just
Yeah.
like good, very good at marketing, but marketing it in a way that makes it doesn't do it justice, if you ask me.
Sure.
And yeah, I think because it doesn't form, and it does actually form, like you can get it from Utah and the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah.
but it's not like well known about, and it wasn't ever incorporated into like Western herbalism or Western, obviously, medicine. But even before that, like it wasn't a common thing, and it was actually considered a national treasure in Russia. So only in the last, I want to say since like 2000, it wasn't even allowed to leave Russia because because of the Cold War. So they were
Holy
like, no,
smokes.
that's it's considered a national treasure, and we need that for our for our military and our fighters.
Yeah.
And in Russia, the it's like sold in pharmacies all over, and it's well known by the Olympic teams and the boxing and judo association. They've all been taking it for a long time, and obviously in Ayurveda. But yeah, it was. I think because it was mostly touted as like a libido supplement, that no one really took it too serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy
And
to be
it's,
part of the revolution here.
yeah. And I mean, it definitely, like, it is libido enhancing, right? But it's not like that's the thing it does. It just makes your body healthy in general. And because you're healthy, that ends up being a byproduct, right? Is that kind of the
Exactly.
understanding? Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I say. It's like it's not specific to one thing. It's like it just helps you feel better and it helps all your organs work better. And the symptom of that is just everything's better.
The libido goes through the roof, man.
Yeah.
That's the symptom. You're ready to
Yeah,
rock and
yeah.
roll.
And some people also a misconception is that it just boosts testosterone, but it's not going to boost testosterone in a woman. It's going to
Mm.
help regulate her hormones. And like if a man takes it who's has lower testosterone,
Molecular hydrogen. What on earth is molecular hydrogen? Okay, well, before I go into that, let's talk about this. The vast majority of people are living in a state of chronic inflammation. And even if they don't notice the inflammation that's in their body, it's there. It's there in everyone. And unless you are taking proactive steps to reduce the amount of inflammation that's in your body, it's probably a lot higher than you would like to know. Because here's the reality: there's pollution in the water, there's pollution in the food, there's environmental toxins in the air, stress just from busy lifestyles. It is insane. Well, here's where molecular hydrogen comes in. When you drink hydrogen water, which is two hydrogen atoms bonded together and then fused into water, when you drink that, it goes in and helps reduce the amount of oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress is basically like the inside of your body rusting. It is what leads to aging, chronic inflammation, disease, illness, ailments, all of the things that you do not want in your body. Molecular hydrogen, when you drink this water, helps to combat that. And it does a fantastic job at that. It is a selective antioxidant, which means it goes in and pinpoints the specific things in your body that need to be corrected, healed, whatever, and it leaves the other functions alone. You don't want an antioxidant that goes in and just kind of hits everything. You actually don't want that. You want selective antioxidants. Molecular hydrogen does that. What's cool is I did a podcast with a guy from Echo Water. They created a flask, basically a bottle that you put water into, you press a button, and it infuses that water with hydrogen so then you can right there on the spot drink however many ounces of hydrogen water. And you can do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. It really doesn't matter. There's not too much that you can drink. It's absolutely incredible. You can go listen to that podcast. It's listed. I'll put a link to it in the show notes actually, so you guys can go listen to it. But what I'm getting at is you can go check out this flask for yourself. You can go to the link in my bio. You can save yourself 10%. You can go check it out. It comes with a 5-year warranty, so if anything ever happens, you can get a new one. It is absolutely awesome. I drink it every single day. It's made a huge difference in my recovery, my health, all the things. I would love for you guys to check that out and experience the same thing that I've been experiencing. Again, save yourself 10%. Go to the show notes, click the link in there, and then you can also listen to the podcast that's linked right below it, so you can go get some more information from the founder of Echo Water. Anyways, love you guys. Let's get back to the show.
testosterone and unregulated hormones, it's going to regulate those, which means that testosterone is going to go up because that's where it naturally your body wants it to be. So it's just
Yeah.
helping your body to be at its, optimal state.
Yeah, it just optimizes everything. Have there been studies on like the percentage of increase of testosterone? I'm sure somebody out there is wondering, like, well, like how many points can I go? Can I go from 200 to 1,000 with this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, has there
Yeah.
been a measurable mark?
Yes. So there are quite a few studies on testosterone. It varies from study to study, but they've gotten it from 300 to 900 easily within 3 months. You have to take more though. You can't take like a daily maintenance dose. You got to take like 1 or 2 grams a day.
Yeah,
which
so you're
is,
hammering it. You're drinking.
yeah,
You're consuming a lot.
yeah, which is, yeah, if you're going for like a serious, boost in your testosterone and life force, and just like you want that full on experience with the Shilajit, work your way up with like, if you're doing the tablets or the resin, one dose, and then increase it every couple days until you get to 1 to 2 grams a day. I personally take 2 grams a day. I take like 5 tablets in the morning, 5 tablets at night.
Wow.
And yeah, that blesses me for sure.
I like the way you put that. Is there a difference in the bioavailability between the different supplements that you guys have? Because you have the resin, you have this stuff, which is the tincture, right? And then you have the other tablets. Are they all equally bioavailable? There's no difference between them in the processing and the whole thing? Because I'm sure people out there would be wondering that too.
Yes, so they are all equally as bioavailable, all equal potency. We lab test every, batch differently for the tablets and the resin, and we'll soon have this special powder that we've created that's going to be a raw, unprocessed Shilajit powder. And all that is made using the same raw Shilajit unprocessed. The tablets, excuse me, are the resin just compressed. Like there's nothing else added, no fillers, binders, preservatives. The resin is obviously just pure resin. The tincture we just use or not. We'll soon be using organic coconut oil derived glycerin. It's just coconut oil derived glycerin, and we just came out with one that has organic rose water as well, which is makes it taste real good.
Yeah.
And the honey. So the honey is awesome as well.
Let's go.
It's just raw honey and raw shilajit, and yeah, there we just made it easy for people to take and have options because it's acquired taste, I'm sure you
Hmm.
know.
Oh yeah,
And some
it
people
definitely is.
some people love it and some people cannot stand it. So that's why we kind of had the different options for traveling and stuff. The resin is just kind of hard to use if you're not used to or you don't want that whole process and ritual of the resin because it's like sticky and you got to dose it out yourself. So we
Yeah.
came out with the glycerin so you could, just pump it into your drink or use it on your skin as well. And then the tablets are super easy to take on the go, and just pre-dose and you can swallow them so you don't have to taste it as much.
Yeah, yeah. When I first got it, so I did because I read on the back it was like if you're feeling crazy, put it under your tongue, and I was like, I'm crazy, I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and I put it under my tongue,
Yeah.
and it wasn't terrible. It could taste nasty, but like it wasn't bad. But then a few times I just put it into my drink and drank it down, and I was like, oh, that was easy. Like I didn't even think twice about it. So I was like, either way would be fine for anybody out there listening, I guess. Um, I had another question. Oh yeah, so when it comes to getting Shilajit, you also want to get it from a certain altitude, correct? Because it matters like how high you're getting it from, correct?
Yeah, so that is also some misconception.
Okay. All right.
It is beneficial for it to be higher than lower just because there's less chance of pollutants.
Yeah.
People just market it like gathered at 16,000 feet plus from the Himalayas just because that's how tall the Himalayas are. But if you were to get it from lower, then there are more chances of being polluted
Yeah.
because the things like pool up. So from the Altai Mountains, though, and why I prefer the Altai Mountain Shilajit personally is because the Altai Mountains are not only more remote, like it's been untouched since the last ice age. There's nothing nearby. There's no big cities or anything
Hmm.
or civilization really, and they are almost a billion years old. The Altai Mountains are almost a billion years old, if I'm not mistaken, like 800 million to a billion years old. The Himalayas are 50 million years old. So that's actually why they're taller, is because they haven't gone through a billion years of erosion.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the Altai Mountains aren't as tall as the Himalayas. They're about 15,000 feet max, or maybe 16,000 feet at the very, very peaks, whereas
Hmm.
the Himalayas are a lot taller at their highest peaks. But the Altai Mountains at one point were that tall. And
They just eroded
they,
over time.
yeah, so, and I think that there's something to be said about the age as well, because those are just
Yeah.
way, yeah,
I,
older.
I'm gonna make myself sound really silly here, but where are the Altai Mountains? Like geographically?
Yeah, yeah. They are in the Siberian region between Mongolia and Russia.
Okay.
Right, basically our where they gather ours is directly on the border of Russia, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. So
Got it.
right
Okay.
in that region is like, yeah, where our supplier has been gathering it for generations.
Wow. And okay, so you also said that you can get it from the Rockies. Does no one go to the Rockies? Are the Rockies just not a good
Yeah,
spot?
there is US Shilajit, and I believe it's just called US Shilajit
Yeah.
or USA Shilajit if anyone's curious. It's really cool. And the guy, he goes out there, gathers it, and he has a cool video about him gathering it and processing it, and then he sells it. But it's just, I don't think the Rockies are nearly as high also or as old. And don't quote me on. They might be as old, but they are not the best source. They're just I
Yeah.
don't think there's as much, and I think it'd be interesting to like try to like compare them and test them from our we've tried some and tested it, and I believe the fulvic acid was lower for some reason, so it might have more of something else, but that
Yeah.
is to be determined because it also comes, yeah, from Utah, and then it also comes from like Argentina and Chile in South America. Like pretty much all the tallest, oldest mountain ranges would have some shilajit. It's just getting to it and processing it and
Yeah.
yeah, like sustainably without mining and stuff. So
Now, if
I
you were
I
if you were hiking, like let's just say you're hiking the Himalayas, which I don't think anybody just hikes the Himalayas, but let's just say hypothetically you were and you came across the black resin coming out of the ground. Could you theoretically just right there just try some and you'd be fine?
yeah, yeah, you could if it didn't have, like sand or stuff growing out of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's kind of why they process it. Like they pretty much just dissolve it all in water. Like they break it off and it comes in like chunks and it usually has sediment and rocks and stuff in it. So then they take all that, dissolve it in water, and then filter all that through like different sieves. And our source uses a proprietary method to also get out like the clay and sediment,
Yeah.
because that's very hard to get um, through like with a normal process.
Hmm.
So ours is, yeah, more pure in that way, but yeah, it's just like water processed, and you could eat it technically, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the. It's like, is grounding just a bunch of woo woo science? I get this question more times than I could count on one hand, two hands, 10 hands. I get this question a lot, is my point. Grounding is absolutely effective and important to be doing on a daily basis. As someone who is avidly grounded, grounding means you just connect with the earth, bare skin to grass or dirt or the ocean or the lake or whatever. Connecting to the earth, grounding is absolutely amazing. Here's what happens: the free electrons from the earth pass into our body. So the electrical charge of the earth passes and reacts with our electrical charge as humans, and this helps to reduce. We absorb these free electrons, they go through our body, and we reduce inflammation, helps reduce stress, helps reduce anxiety because our body is able to finally calm down. What's happening all day long is we're insulated with rubber shoes, right? And then we're bombarded with, Wi-Fi and radiation, environmental toxins and food pollutions and all this stuff, as our body all day long is fighting off all this crap that it's constantly bombarded with. As soon as we can ground and go ahead and let our bodies like actually detoxify, those other resources that were spent, getting rid of all that crap going on are now it's now put toward healing your body and healing your gut and healing your muscles and doing other more important things than just fighting off all this other crap that we're bombarded with on a daily basis. So grounding is super important, right? And I'm explaining this in layman's terms, but I hope this is at least a little bit clear. I would love it if you guys would check out Earth and Moon products, because at the very least, if you're not going to go ground for 40 minutes walking in the grass, buy yourself a grounding bed sheet or a grounding pad to stand on when you're working. It will make a difference, guys. It makes a huge difference, right? You can save yourself some money. You can save yourself 10%. Go to the link in the bio. Use my code. I think it's Kyle10. Either way, the code is in the show notes. Go there, check out the products. My recommendation is at the very least get a grounding pad, but I think you should get grounding sheets so you're sleeping grounded all night long, which would be amazing. Go check that out. Support a great company. Support your boy. Support yourself. Save some money along the way. I love you guys. Let's get back to the show.
You
It's like
could
when you
like,
drop
yeah.
it's like when you drop some food in the sand and then you still want to eat it, and then you're like chewing on sand. You want to eat the food. You're like, well, all right.
Yeah, you
This
could
is
like
part of
you maybe like suck on it and see what
yeah, yeah,
happens.
yeah.
I
No,
would do it.
that's. I mean, honestly, I would too. I'd be like, why not? Let's try it.
If the goats are doing it, I'm doing it.
Oh, no, that's really cool. Um, let's finish with this. So, you've had your company for 6 years. Um, I like to share stuff on this podcast of people going through tough, challenging things, as much as we can. I'm sure in your 6 year journey of having a company, there's been some ups and downs. So, has it been all sunshine and rainbows, or has there been some pushback, some setbacks, some difficulties as you guys have navigated these waters along the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been a long road and yeah, we've I have no background in business at all, so we started, it kind of like started growing out of our control for the last couple years because it just blew up. Even though
Yeah.
we did no marketing, like we started advertising 4 months ago on Google and Meta, because we literally couldn't afford we couldn't afford to because we couldn't keep up with the demand for all the stores we were in.
Wow.
So until we got our facility, so that was like a huge bottleneck to where we didn't have a facility yet. We were still making it, out of our spare bedroom that we turned into a production facility. And that was amazing because we didn't have, any overhead costs or anything. But then we couldn't make, like, we were producing 12 hours a day every day for 6 months, like trying to just keep up with the stores that were ordering and trying not to lose any accounts, and then
Yeah.
trying to like then we'd have to put it sold out on the website because we literally couldn't keep up. And then the facility was a huge undertaking. It's taken almost a year to get it, fully up and running and functional. And we have an amazing team there that can make everything exactly how we want. And we have all the equipment and everything. And we've grown exponentially in the last couple of years. And it's just been a huge, huge learning curve for accounting and managing people and payroll and taxes and certifications and
Yeah.
all the fun stuff with the government. And
Yeah. Tons of stuff
yeah,
there, I'm sure.
yeah, and then yeah, just like seeing all these other brands pop up and like we can't, we don't have, we bootstrap the whole thing. That's another thing that was a huge challenge because to grow, you really need a lot of money to invest into all this equipment. And each new product is tens of thousands of dollars for the designs, the boxes, the packaging, the Shilajit, and then trying to market it and photos and listings and all this stuff.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's been a huge, huge learning curve, but just last month we went to this amazing scaling workshop in Las Vegas and learned basically like a crash course on how to run an effective business and what numbers to account for and all these things that we had no clue about. We're just
Yeah.
like running blind, and now we got a really clear, like roadmap and direction, and very excited to grow and double down on everything that we have and just keep advertising it in an organic but like healthy way to where yeah, all these people that are just have super deep pockets and can spend millions on advertising off the bat and it's just yeah, it's a challenge, but we've somehow solidified ourselves as like a premium trustworthy brand in all these stores and with celebrities and athletes and yeah, my favorite thing ever was like Kelly Slater. We we sent him a message and he already had all of our products and he actually lives like in my town here in Cocoa Beach. So
Awesome.
that was like the greatest. He's like my life hero because I grew up a surfer and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just like so cool to see all that work pay off and then just yeah, it's a lot. It's a big mantle of responsibility to like have employees and to now have like families that we support and just the responsibility of that. And yeah, it's been I've grown so much in the last couple years personally and in business and relationships and like
Yeah.
yeah, so now we've gotten our facility to where we need to be and I'm gonna yeah write this book and go on as many podcasts as I can to share the good word.
Yeah, man. Just double down on it. I love that,
Yeah.
man. I love that because nowhere in there did you say we felt ready. It was
No.
literally just like you went for it, you figured it out, you've made mistakes, you've learned, you've grown, and like you haven't had everything perfect. You worked with what you had, and that's cool, dude. Because that's the whole thing for me with this whole obviously self fitness programming for people and try to help them get in shape, and I try to help them understand that like it ain't about feeling ready, it ain't about having everything figured out, and this that, you just got to go. You just got to go and take action and stay committed, stay consistent, and you'll learn and figure it out as you go along. And that's
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
man. You're seeing amazing success. That's really cool.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, my favorite quote that I learned like when I started my first business, which I sold like herbal products and teas and stuff that I would grow and make tinctures and stuff, is like do it tired, do it when you don't know how, do it when you don't want to. You just got to do it. And
Right?
if you don't know how, do it and then you'll find out how. And if you're
Yeah.
tired, do it and then you won't be tired or you can sleep after. But it's like you can't, yeah, you just got to do it and you learn after. But do it wrong. No one starts off right. I attest to that. Like we did not we've lost unimaginable amounts of money like on all these
Yeah.
different things that we just were trying out and seeing how it went and it to me it's it's a loss but it's not because it led us in the right direction and like we paid that money to learn that that's not what works so either way like yeah for your clients like do it tired just do it
Just
like
do it, man. Nike. They
yeah
they they chose the perfect slogan. Like they
they
really
did
did. They hit the nail on the head with that one, man. Dang. That's
yeah
amazing. All right, dude. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hop on this podcast. I think people listening will get a lot of information about this. I'm sure someone out there is the first time hearing this. You guys go get some Black Lotus stuff. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can go down there and check it out. Go to their website, go get some stuff. I take it every morning. I've noticed a difference. I love it. I actually like the taste of it now. I look forward to it. So, but yeah, thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. Great to connect. You're a great host. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, man. All right, you guys. Appreciate y'all listening and watching on YouTube, wherever you're at. And as always, keep moving forward.